Terence Crawford decided to involve Floyd Mayweather in his preparation for his fight against Canelo Alvarez later this year, and the undefeated boxing legend was nothing short of impressed on seeing how improved Terence Crawford was. Floyd Mayweather had no doubts that Canelo would be put to sleep when the fight comes, adding to his already perfect skill set. Floyd Mayweather offered some defensive techniques to avoid being hit by the bigger man. The shoulder roll was one of them, while he also demonstrated some footworks for Crawford to imitate. It's interesting to see that Crawford is prepared for both Canelo's attack and defense, whichever style he brings. The undefeated pound-for-pound king believes he would be able to do some damage. On talking after the training, Floyd Mayweather brought back talks of his fight against Canelo Alvarez many years ago and claimed he sees so many similarities between himself then and Terence Crawford, now implying that the result won't be any different than what it was 12 years ago. Mayweather fought Canelo in a World Boxing Council and World Boxing Association light middleweight title showdown in September 2013. It was the 45th contest of the American's glittering career, coming up against the young Mexican who was facing his toughest challenge to date. It was seen as a tough test for Mayweather heading in, but it turned out to be a one-sided affair, as the American claimed the victory on points, even if the scorecards had it much closer than most boxing fans. Money dominated the fight throughout, using his skills and expertise to outclass Canelo over 12 rounds to claim a majority decision victory. Despite being the clear winner at the end of the contest, Judge C.J. Ross scored at 114-114, which baffled many of those in attendance, including Mayweather. Speaking to Fight Hype, the 47-year-old did not hold back when talking about Canelo's boxing ability, initially summing up in 3 words how the fight when he was nothing. Mayweather then explained further what he thinks of the Mexican's ability. "You can take a guy like Canelo. I'll tell the truth about Canelo. The idiot was easy, a cakewalk, easier, all praising this dude. He was nothing. I was almost 40 and I cooked this dude easy." Mayweather retired just a few years later, but over a decade on, Canelo remains one of the biggest names in boxing, securing world titles at middleweight, super middleweight, and light heavyweight, and even becoming undisputed in the 168 pounds weight class after tasting defeat for the first time against Mayweather. Canelo went on to win his next 15 fights, winning world titles at middleweight, super middleweight, and light heavyweight. In the process, he now looks set to take part in another huge boxing clash, with a clash against fellow pound-for-pound great Crawford believed to be agreed for later in the year. Some observers believe the weight difference could be too much for Crawford, who would be jumping up from 154 pounds to 168 pounds for the fight, having only competed once in the super welterweight division. Due to Canelo being a naturally much bigger man than Crawford, many feel that it could result in a big knockout win for the Mexican, similar to when he took on a much smaller opponent in Amir Khan, who had also moved up 2 divisions for the fight. With that in mind, Mayweather gave his verdict on what he thought of Canelo's power following their fight after he was asked if it concerned him heading into the bout. "Not at all. He then said in the ring it was nothing he hadn't felt before. "It's nothing I have never felt before after being in the sport for over 20 years. Mayweather's comments may give Crawford confidence, especially with Canelo failing to stop his last 5 opponents. The 34-year-old from Guadalajara, Mexico, currently holds the unified World Boxing Council, World Boxing Association, and World Boxing Organization titles at 168 pounds, as he looks set to defend his crown against fellow pound-for-pound superstar Terence "Bud" Crawford later this year in what could be one of the biggest fights in the long history of boxing. Canelo's only other career defeat came in 2022 when he was beaten comprehensively by the former WBA light heavyweight champion Dimitri Bivol. What was even more interesting was that after Mayweather and Crawford met, Eddie Hearn was also at the training camp to support Shakur Stevenson, hence it was becoming a small meeting of the biggest names in boxing. They say that what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, but in the times we live in, and with so many witnesses to what happens, especially if celebrities are present, it is difficult to keep it secret. And if you add to that equation the name of Floyd Mayweather, it is impossible to hide it. Turns out that a recent meeting between Money and the famous promoter Eddie Hearn in a gym in Sin City sparked sparks, and although the whole moment was wrapped in jocular comments, this does not mean that they were not throwing each other. It should be remembered that Hearn was repeating some time ago in every space he was given that Floyd Mayweather had no money, or at least not the money he claims to have, and that this was why he was performing or looking for exhibition fights. Money earned so much during his stellar boxing career, pocketing in excess of $1.2 billion in total earnings, including from his lucrative paydays against Manny Pacquiao and Conor McGregor. Widespread reports indicate that Mayweather's current total net worth is around $400 million, which has allowed him to live an extravagant lifestyle outside of the squared circle. Despite retiring from the professional ranks in 2017, Mayweather has been fighting in a series of remunerative exhibitions against some lesser opposition, including D and Logan Paul. The boxing legend has repeatedly insisted he is earning 8-figure paydays from each, even going as far as to nickname them legalized bank robberies. But when explaining why he was accepting the showman-style events, he insisted it was to continue to build his generational wealth. Matchroom boxing promoter Hearn made the suggestion in multiple interviews that Mayweather's net worth wasn't the same as many expected due to his plush purchases. He said, "I don't think he's got the money." He says, "That's what I think. I don't think he needs the money, but you know, when you've got that lifestyle, when he's spending what he's spending." The climax came when Money ran into him in Las Vegas and confronted him about it. The undefeated former boxer claimed that Hearn sometimes makes those kinds of comments and that they had even already cleared it up, so they began to joke as if the news had been real, to make jokes and to throw themselves at each other again, while their respective groups of friends celebrated what was said by both. The pair crossed paths in Las Vegas in a boxing gym as they watched some sparring as they were both in town for the fight between Diego Pacho and Steve Nelson. Mayweather jokingly began in a conversation, "So one day somebody said, 'cause you know I don't have social media on my phone, so they showed me Eddie. Eddie was like, Floyd Mayweather Jr. ain't got no money, that's why he is doing exhibitions. Eddie doesn't believe that. I know he says some stuff like that, but me and Eddie got it clear." Mayweather had a smug grin across his face, as did Hearn, and the pair then shook hands. The promoter then responded, "Yeah, as long as it is 10 or 20, there's no problem. Anything less, it can't be less than 10. The gag sent Mayweather bursting out laughing with a member of his team, as it was abundantly clear there were no hard feelings. Mayweather Jr. mentioned that he had even shown his bank accounts to Hearn. Mayweather then clarified, "Listen, I had to show Eddie some of my accounts." Hearn then concluded, "Imagine how much Floyd Mayweather would have made if I was his promoter. Do you know what I'm saying?" Mayweather is clearly not short of cash, and it is no wonder given his remarkable spending spree in recent months. The boxing legend has invested heavily in real estate, including his biggest ever $42 million purchase of a series of apartment blocks. They say that many a true word is spoken in jest, but at least in reality and in the light of the facts, this does not apply to Money, who remains one of the richest former sportsmen in the world. It is currently unclear if he has any more exhibitions lined up, but he has continued to be linked to lucrative return backouts. Hearn never promoted Mayweather, but likely wishes he did, given the star power of the American. His pay-per-view events against Pacquiao in 2015 and McGregor in 2017 remain the two biggest earning fights in the modern era. However, despite making an absurd amount of money throughout his professional boxing career, which lasted over 20 years, there have been stories over the years which have surfaced about Mayweather not being so smart with his money, and even in the build-up to his huge fight against Conor McGregor in 2017, the Irishman insinuated in the build-up that the undefeated former boxing world champion had tax issues. Despite being by far the richest fighter in boxing history, Floyd Mayweather's wealth following the end of his professional boxing career has come into question, with Eddie Hearn asking about Mayweather's wealth. In a recent interview with GRM Daily, Hearn has questioned Money Mayweather's wealth, saying that he thinks the 50-0 fighter does not have as much money as he says. "I don't think he's got the money," he says. "That's what I think. I don't think he needs the money. But you know, when you've got that lifestyle, when he's spending what he's spending." As a result, Floyd Mayweather has responded with a new video on his Instagram where he even boasted more than he would normally do in order to fire shots at Hearn and prove Hearn's claims as false. In the video, he was presented a check, and he continued by intentionally announcing amount in the check and said, "You know what, we do the one and only Floyd Money Mayweather, CEO of Zeus. I appreciate you. You guys always do great business. That's 6 zeros. It's not bad. It's a deal. I appreciate it." He then graced another interview where he trolled Eddie Hearn, saying, "When I come and do an exhibition, it's because I love the sport and I feel like it." Floyd Mayweather is known throughout the world of combat sports to be the biggest money maker in boxing history. Mayweather, 47, enjoyed a perfect professional boxing career and retired with an unheard of 50-0 record, where he managed to become by far the biggest draw in boxing, generating billions of dollars of revenue across his 50-fight career. Hearn's comments certainly hold weight, as throughout his career Mayweather has always been seen bragging and publicly displaying his cash in businesses, but has also been accused in the past of not being very smart with his money, despite finishing his professional boxing career with a huge payday in one of the biggest fights in the sport's history against former two-division UFC champion Conor McGregor. Mayweather still pretty frequently participates in exhibition bouts and has faced YouTuber and WWE superstar Logan Paul, English reality TV star Aaron Chalmers, and former MMA fighter John Gotti. The fact that Mayweather is still competing years after the end of his professional career has made many people question his financial stability. Despite earning an absurd amount of money throughout his career, Mayweather is regularly seen on social media flashing huge amounts of cash watches and is always talking about his business ventures. Eddie Hearn has questioned Floyd Mayweather's wealth, doubting if the boxer truly has as much money as he claims after retiring undefeated. Elsewhere, Crawford also claimed he was going to win a fight with Floyd Mayweather if they ever fought while the undefeated boxing legend was active. The switch hitter from Omaha, Nebraska is a 4-weight world champion with 31 stoppages to his name. He most recently won the World Boxing Association world title in the super welterweight ranks with a decision win over Israel Madrimov. That was the 4th division, in which Crawford has won belts. He has also been undisputed in 2 to 1 of only 3 men to achieve that in the 4-belt era, as Crawford continues to stake his claim as the best of a generation. Fans are debating how he fares compared to the all-time greats. One intriguing fantasy matchup is against the last dominant American, Floyd Mayweather. Money Mayweather famously retired undefeated in 2017 as one of the most lucrative stars the sport of boxing has ever seen. The defensive master beat the likes of Canelo Alvarez, Manny Pacquiao, Shane Mosley, and Oscar de la Hoya. Would Crawford be on that list if the pair had crossed paths? Asked on the Million Worth of Game podcast how he would do against Mayweather, Crawford didn't hesitate to back himself. Me versus anybody. Crawford's trainer Brian Bulk McIntyre shares the same prediction, though he admits he is like Crawford biased. There are two things. For one, Crawford is like my son, so I'm going to always go with him. Terence has that dog in him. Terence didn't get to where he is now overnight. It's taken years and years. But if you put Bud in there in his prime with Mayweather in his prime, then of course Mayweather is going to be the smarter one. But I think Bud will have more dog in him. Whether or not Bud could break the famed defenses of Mayweather down will always be debated. Another debate that'll keep being a topic in the boxing world is the greatest of all time debate, with many disagreeing with Floyd Mayweather. Roy Jones Jr. and Floyd Mayweather Jr. are two boxing legends who have left an indelible mark on the sport. Both are widely regarded as the best pound-for-pound fighters of their respective eras, sparking endless debates about who truly deserves the title of greatest of all time. Mayweather, with his perfect 50-0 record, is considered by many to be the greatest pound-for-pound boxer in history. His impenetrable defense and ability to control the pace of a fight made him a unique spectacle. Additionally, his career was marked by extraordinary commercial success, with 4 of the 5 highest grossing pay-per-view events in boxing history. However, Roy Jones Jr., an undisputed champion across 4 weight classes, holds a different opinion. In an interview with Real Life Productions, when asked if he considered Mayweather the GOAT, Jones Jr. gave a simple but emphatic response: no slick but punishing. Jones was the first man to win a middleweight world title and go on to do the same at heavyweight. In over a century, he held top honors in 4 divisions throughout his storied career, beating the likes of James Tony, Bernard Hopkins, and Antonio Tarver with an endlessly watchable style. Mayweather famously finished his campaign with a 5,050 perfect record, holding belts in 5 divisions and dazzling with a defense that is widely considered the very best in the business. He was also one of the most lucrative stars the sport has seen, claiming 4 of the top 5 biggest selling pay-per-view events. Speaking to Real Life Productions, Jones Jr. was asked if Money Mayweather's record meant he was the greatest of all time. He said no. Elaborating, Jones said there were more impressive campaigns out there. You have to respect anything a person does to stay undefeated that long. I respect it to a degree. Yeah, is it 50 that I think he's the greatest fighter of all time? Now, Julio Cesar Chavez went 80-0 at 1.80. Are you going to ever top that? No, he just didn't stop. Floyd got to 50-0 and stopped because of Rocky Marciano. Rocky died. If he wouldn't have died, he probably would have kept going too. Jones then took issue in particular with Mayweather's farewell bout, a 10th-round stoppage of UFC superstar Conor McGregor in his boxing debut. In the end, the debate over who is the GOAT will likely continue, fueled by the unique accomplishments and philosophies of these two icons of the sport. And that's all for now. For the very best updates on news, moments, events, and actions in the world of boxing, stay connected with us by subscribing to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to turn on notifications to get notified when we drop quality contents like this. Until next time, peace out.